If you're going to build something from nothing, you've got to know what really works. I took a $1,000 loan and built a $5 billion business, and now I make smart investments in new businesses on Shark Tank. This is Barbara Corcoran, and you're listening to Business Unusual, presented by On Deck Business Loans. This week on Business Unusual, I'm going to be answering all of the great questions you guys keep sending me in on business, life, how to move forward, how to jump over obstacles. Come on, I'm good at it, and I want to share my advice. But first, everybody can use a jump start, but I'm going to address that topic because let me give you a few examples of questions I'm getting in. Here's one from Maria, New Mexico. I've been at the same job for 8 years now. I'm filled with anxiety and wondering if I've been wasting my time, but I don't know how to change. All right, you hear that loud and clear, right? Or this one from Mike, who's out of Dallas. He's asking, how do I switch tracks? I've been a computer consultant for 5 years, been promoted 3 times and making a good deal of money, but I'm not happy with my work. It's painful, isn't it? Well, I don't believe in New Year resolutions, as I think they just put a pile of more pressure on your back, and they usually don't amount to anything a month from now. But I do believe that January is a perfect time to regroup and ask yourself if you're doing what you want in life. Are you spending your life working in the right job and going in the direction you really want to go in? And I say if you're not, time to change it up. I'm going to use myself as an example here because I've had to reinvent myself 3 times and I've had 3 separately equally successful careers, but I can tell you it was pretty scary each time I switched. I've started my latest career in the TV space at the ripe old age of 55 when most people just didn't believe it was a good time to start all over again. But what the heck? I didn't want to be in a position of wondering what if I should have, could have. And as a result of that, I've had a great career for 10 years now as a shark investor on Shark Tank. How did I make the switch from real estate agent to Shark Tank? By reinventing myself, rewiring myself to use the same old Barbara to do something new. Here's what I've learned about making a change. Number 1, endings are hard, and moving to a whole new industry and reinventing yourself ain't easy. So I would suggest you be a little easier on yourself. I thought I could do it fast, and I was impatient with myself when I couldn't. And if I had it to do over again, I would have said, give yourself a little time. It's all going to happen as long as you get committed to making the change. Number 2, make yourself a list right in the beginning of what you're good at, what you're not good at. I call it the love list. You've heard me talk about it before. Just take out your old legal pad, write a line down the middle, and write everything you love to do on the left-hand side. You'll also need, on the right-hand side, a long list of what you don't like to do, because this gives you an appreciation for the direction you ought to be going in, which is clearly the direction of taking advantage of the things you are good in, not the things you don't want to do, and building a career on the back of those assets. Make sense? Number 3. Reinvent yourself in stages. Here's what I did. I would have loved to have been on television every day doing my new career, and I really wanted to do it in the space of how to succeed in business. But guess what? I had no takers. So I was able to get one paid gig, one little 3-minute segment every other week on Fox TV as, what do you think, a political consultant. Politics, which I knew nothing about, but it got my foot in the door. After I got that under my belt, I was able to get a paid weekly thing on the Today Show talking about what I know, real estate. That helped me get into the TV space. And from there, I did more TV on business, and from there, Shark Tank picked me up. But let me tell you, that took 6 long years to accomplish. I had hoped at the time that I could declare I was going to succeed in the TV business, knew what I was talking about, and why wouldn't people have me? But guess what? Every producer I visited would ask me real estate advice as to what their home in Greenwich, Connecticut was worth. How insulting! But I had to reinvent myself and accept it, that it had to be in little tiny pieces. Number 4, it's never too late. Some of the most successful people in the world found their success in their second or third career, and they deserved it because they had the courage to take a leap of faith and try something new. Take some really well-known people, like Sam Walton comes to mind, the founder of Walmart, who was 44 when he opened his first Walmart store. Think about that. Or Henry Ford, who was 45 when he created the Model T. Or Colonel Sanders was 62 when he sold his recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken. You should be able to look at people like that and get some courage. It's not too late. My God, I've been invested in this business for 15 years. How do I make a change? Look at these guys, what they did. You never want to be the person in the rocking chair thinking, God, I wish I shoulda, coulda. I wish I shoulda, coulda. Yeah, you got to get out. If you're on the wrong track, January is a great month for sizing it up and deciding you're going to make a change. You're listening to Business Unusual with Barbara Corcoran, presented by On Deck Business Loans. Here's a company all business owners should know about: On Deck Business Loans. On Deck delivers financing for small business owners in as little as 24 hours, with term loans up to $500,000 and lines of credit up to $100,000. Their average loan is about $57,000. On Deck products are always tailored to your specific business need with lots of loan and payback options. Their simple process saves you time, and because they have less strict requirements than the banks, they approve many different businesses and do it faster than traditional lenders. I've known the gang at On Deck for years now, and I can tell you they're the real deal. On Deck has lent over $10 billion to more than 80,000 small business owners. Thousands of them have reviewed On Deck, giving them a 9.8 out of 10 rating on Trustpilot and an A+ grade with the Better Business Bureau. So make your way over to ondeck.com/Barbara for a free consultation with a small business loan specialist to find out exactly which loan best suits your company. ondeck.com/Barbara. And now it's time to answer your questions on Business Unusual. Gayla writes in, I live in a very small town and the pool of skilled, even unskilled labor is very limited. I find that instead of running my business, I'm stuck trying to fix all the minor issues that come up since I have no one else to take care of it. What do I do? Well, let me say there's always someone to take care of everything, Gayla, if you look hard enough and believe you can find them. So your first enemy is you have it in your head that it's hard to find people, and you're mistaken. What I think you need to do is think outside the usual pools of labor that everybody else is using. Maybe find part-time employees by looking for women groups who are raising their children and get together and tapping into them for part-time work. They have the spare time while the kids are in school. You could also tap into high school kids available after class every day, or retired people looking to engage themselves in something other than just relaxing. The beauty to tapping into local groups on a part-time basis is you can fluctuate their hours and wages based on what you can afford and what you actually need week to week, simply because they're more flexible than the average worker who needs to have a 9-to-5 commitment to stay around. You may also be a perfectionist, and I suggest you probably are from your question, and you feel you have to do everything yourself unless it's done perfectly, and that could be a real obstacle to your changing. And if you strike out with finding local help, don't forget about looking online. There's Amazon Mechanical Turk that can virtually fill any back office need you might have. And there's online services like TaskRabbit that will provide just about any worker for any need you could possibly imagine. So stop thinking you can't do and realize there are many more options you could check into to make sure you have the needed help to build your business. Think about that a little bit. I learned after a couple of years in business that when it comes to delegating, 80% was always good enough. By that I mean, you have to let go of your perfectionist idea that you're the best person to do everything and accept that a job done 80% as well by someone else should be just fine with you. And that's all the questions we have time for today. If you have a question, tweet it at Barbara Corcoran, and I may just answer it on a future episode. You've been listening to Business Unusual with me, Barbara Corcoran, presented by On Deck Business Loans. Come back next week to hear more steps and missteps I took on the path to success on Business Unusual. Business Unusual is part of the iHeartRadio Podcast Network. Be sure to follow Business Unusual on iHeartRadio or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.